What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of MiaMich. It is I, Eric, otherwise known as the Michigan fan. Today, there's no Danny, scheduling conflict, and I want to apologize for last week's video not coming out. There was actually a downloading issue, so I wasn't actually able to get the file to work properly. That was all my fault. Completely apologize. But from here on out, we should have weekly episodes coming every Friday. All right. So we're going to do a quick week one overview. Some very big stories, some very interesting things happen. And then we're going to go right into the week two preview, which, of course, we know what the game of the week being Michigan at Oklahoma. But first, let's go ahead and get in to the good stuff. Of course, we're going to start off with this Ohio State and Texas game. Texas was at Ohio State. Texas was favored for a little bit in that game, and then it turned out that they weren't. Near a little closer. The hype for Manning, man. You know, I'm not going to take my foot off the pedal. He's still a young man who's, that's a first start, a real start against a real program at Ohio State. Gross. I, I get it. Of course he's going to struggle. Ohio State always has a great defense. Ohio State always has a great crowd. Like these are things that we all know, especially in the Big Ten. Like, I mean, I'm not ashamed to say it. I'm a diehard Michigan fan. I don't even say Ohio State unless it's for this video. It's Ohio all the way through. But no, it was a good defensive battle all the way through. Ohio State scoring in the second and the fourth. Texas late touchdown, but it really didn't matter. Ohio State never looked like they were going to lose that lead after they were up just 7-0, which is crazy to say. Another big game was LSU beating Clemson. Huge for Chip Kelly, man. Not Chip, not Chip. I'm sorry. For Brian Kelly, huge for Brian Kelly. This program needed it more than anything. I think this game right here meant more than any game he's coached for LSU. He's able to finally beat a top 5, top 10 program, able to win his first game of the season, which was really big. And, Nussmeier looked amazing, 28 of 38, 232, one touchdown. He made a lot of moves with his legs as well, so that might not seem like oh wow, Heisman Trophy. No, this kid played, and this kid won him that football game for sure, along with that defense. Second half shutout for him. 0 points scored in the second half for Clemson. That's brutal. That is absolutely brutal. You can't have that. You just can't. I mean, like, I know that LSU is a really talented football team, but you're at home. I don't know, man. I need a lot more, especially from Klubnik, man. You're supposed to be like round one receiver, and I just don't see it. And if you really want to be a round one receiver, I'm not receiver, round one quarterback, you need to be able to, essentially put the game on your back. And he just wasn't able to do it this game, which is really sad to see. But first game of the season, I mean, mid-season when everyone's at peak form, we're going to see more about both these teams. It could be a fluke win. We don't know. It's week one. Let's not overreact to a week one game. Speaking of overreactions, Florida State upsetting Alabama. Wow. Florida State beat that ass. And I mean that as trying to be as respectful as possible, but they whooped them. They put them to the house. Like, Jesus. It was 31-17. Castellanos, I'm going to get that name by the end of the season, I promise. Castellanos was amazing. And I mean, absolutely amazing. He was on just point with his passes, very quick RPOs, and he was able to stay in the pocket. But the way he used his legs, rushing for 78 yards and a touchdown on 16 carries. And it's like, it's under 100. No. These were big time rushes, and that touchdown honestly set the whole tone for he's backing up what he was saying. Alabama doesn't have Nick Saban anymore. They're not scared of him, and they played just like they weren't scared of him. Alabama was down 17-7 at halftime. All right, by that point, 24-10 in the third quarter, and then it was just over. Like 24-10 starting the fourth, and they just traded touchdowns, which at the end of the game didn't really mean much. But, Alabama fans, I know you're pissed. I still say calm down, take a breath. Of course, it's not Nick Saban. We get it. If any other analyzer would ever say it, and I'm not even saying I'm a journalist, I'm a football fan, all right? I am a fan, and this is how I'm seeing it, okay? I have family who are Alabama fans who kind of feel the way that everyone else is feeling. give this coach more than 2 years to establish what he wants to do. Okay? He's not Nick Saban. Okay? That's great. Guess what? Shane Moore is not Bo Schembechler. Bo Schembechler. My God, it's been a long night. Or Jim Harbaugh. Okay? He's not. It's just, you can't compare these coaches to other coaches that were great, but, everyone builds in their own way. Everyone recovers in their own way, and everyone comes back in their own way. If the rumors I'm hearing are true about all the extra funny business that goes on behind the scenes, you need as a coach to step the fuck up. I'm not trying to tell you how to coach, but you need to, man. Like, you're gonna have to step up, because that's just disciplinary action that just needs to be like day before stuff. But I'm not buying into it. I didn't see it. I don't know if it's true. I ain't doing it. But Florida State looking good. Florida State might be an issue. Oh, goodness gracious. Florida State might be an issue over here in the ACC pretty quick. And I wanted to get Danny's take, and his take is always fuck FSU. So let's move on with that. Let's go over to the not Miami. We're going to get to that. Let's go over to the Michigan game. We won 34-17. Underwood looked phenomenal, especially with the limited passes. I mean, honestly, this was a very bare bone, basic, like, passing RPOs, know your reads, hand it off. He didn't even run a whole lot, which I thought I was going to see like a lot more not Denard Robinson, Cam Newton running-esque, even though I know he has his own way of doing it. But 21-31, 251, and a touchdown is pretty good for a true freshman's first start. I mean, given New Mexico, they scored on our defense a couple times in the second and the third. Our defense will get better. I think that targeting on our middle linebacker was absolutely bullshit. It was as clean as a hit as you can get, but, it's the league now. I get it. You want to protect your players. I don't disagree. I mean, I don't agree. I disagree heavily, but I understand it, so I can't get too much into that. But Michigan looked good. Big test against Oklahoma this week, man. Like, this game right here will not make or break our season, but it's going to set the tone. If we win this, easily 7-0. Easily 7-0 before we have to hit our hard spots. We lose this, then we have to look at a couple other teams on that schedule. Like, ooh, shoot, maybe not. We'll kind of see where we're going with that, because, like, our next schedule after Oklahoma is pretty simple. It's Central Michigan, at Nebraska, which is something to watch, but I still do not trust Nebraska. I know it's Matt Rule. I just don't. Versus Wisconsin, at USC, versus Washington, at Michigan State. That's where I feel like, it's going to get really tough, is that 3-game stretch, because we're at Little Brother, and it's always a pain in the ass to play at Michigan State. Versus Purdue, at Northwestern, which at this point is an FCS team, and then it's Maryland and Ohio. Damn, man, I don't know. I think if Michigan can win against Oklahoma, everything's going to be okay. If not, you're looking at another 2 to 3 lose season, maybe squeeze into that playoff spot, because, 10 wins is all it kind of takes anymore, especially if you beat Ohio State at the end. When we beat Ohio State at the end, I'm sorry, that was almost blasphemous. I just want to go over the Miami game now. Let's go over Miami Notre Dame. Great game, 27-24. Miami coming out on top. Mario Cristobal having his first big win of the season and first big win like this in his career? ? Nah, man, they played Miami football. Great defense. Notre Dame tried to come back, scoring 17 points in the fourth quarter, which was gross, but I mean, it's okay. Miami held on. He's going to kill me for this. I don't believe in Miami like that yet. Yeah, sure, they beat Notre Dame, but who's Notre Dame? I've never been into a big Notre Dame guy, because I see every season they'll always fall to that 10-9 win, then they'll have their Big 12 and then lose in the playoffs real quick. It's like, show me something before I believe in you. And in my case too, with this, is Miami's the same way. Show me something and then I'll believe in you. Because without you showing me anything, like, all I'm doing is just seeing the same garbage. It's just like, all right, Miami will win the first 4 games. They're going to lose against Florida State. Then they're going to have a 4 other games they're going to lose that they shouldn't. Excuse me. And then it's just Miami football once again. All right. So that was last week's game. That was week's one. I wanted to go through that real quick just because also I haven't touched on it since the last video didn't work. Boo. But let's go ahead and go into week 2 now. First, let's go over to the rankings. I just want to go over these real quick. It's on the screen now. Right here. Ohio State being at number 1 now, Penn State at 2, LSU at 3, Georgia 4, Miami at 5, which is a good spot for them. 6 Ohio, 6 is Oregon, and what the hell? All right, 7 Texas, 8 Clemson, 9 Notre Dame, 10 South Carolina. Telling you, South Carolina is a sleeper pick. People need to stop sleeping on South Carolina. 11 Illinois, 12 is Arizona State, 13 Florida. Florida looked really good in there, 55-0 win over their FCS. 14 Florida State after a well-deserved win against Alabama. Look at me. 15 Michigan going down 1, but we'll see what happens if we beat 16 Iowa State, 17 SMU, and then 18 who we play Oklahoma. 19 Texas A&M, Oklahoma, Ole Miss, Alabama, Tennessee, Indiana, Texas Tech, and Utah rounded out. And not a lot of big changes. I mean, the drop with Alabama, I think, is a little ridiculous, if I'm going to be completely frank with you. I think, they should have moved down to, like, 19. 21, man, in the 20s, like in the 18 to 17 area, but damn, man, they really dropped them because of that loss. But we're gonna kind of see what happens. Let's see what kind of team Florida State is this year. I'm gonna keep an eye on them because they're looking good. All right, so let's get to the big games of this weekend. Oregon, number 6, Oklahoma State is visiting them. We're gonna see Moore for the quarterback, who had 213 and 3 touchdowns his last game. We'll see what happens with Oregon. Oregon's always a fun team to watch. They're always going to try to score a bunch of points, always going to put that, pedal to the metal, and Oregon's always a playoff contender because of what they can do. Another good one is Ole Miss, number 20 Ole Miss at Kentucky, both undefeated right now. Obviously, it's been one game. Kind of see how the SEC is going to be led there. Mississippi is favored right now, 8.5, so that's kind of showing you the lack of love that they might have for Kansas. Give me Kansas. Give me Kansas. Oh, before is Oregon, by the way. I get Oregon all day. But, yeah, no, man. Give me Kansas. I want Kansas right there. I'm just trying to look for all the big games. I know it was a little lackluster when it comes to preparation today. And I guess, dang, man, that's really about all the big games that we have out here. Well, no, here's a good one. This one actually could be a sleeper. Is number 13 Florida hosting South Florida. South Florida just upset top 25 Boise State last week. All I'm going to say. Florida's favorite 17.5. I wouldn't buy that. I would definitely say no. I think this will be a close game. South Florida has a defense, and people need to stop sleeping on that. They took Alabama to the brink, like the absolute limit last year. Beat Boise State this year. Why not? If they beat number 13 Florida, could you imagine? Could you imagine if they beat 13 Florida at the Swamp after beating 25 Boise State? Give me Florida. Give me Florida close, though. Give me Florida close. Florida's going to be really freaking... That's going to be a real sleeper game. 4:15 over there on the SEC network. And then the game of the week. I mean, how fitting is this that this game of the week is my game of the week, which is also so happens to be ESPN's game of the week, but usually we try not to do that. Obviously, some shit just happens. 15 Michigan at 18 Oklahoma. Mateer looked real good last week for Oklahoma. I talked about Underwood, already earlier. I mean, this is going to come down to the running game, to come down to defense, who can step up. If Oklahoma gets up early, we're in trouble. True freshman quarterback, you're unproven. I need to show me something. Last week, you showed me that you can run that offense. I'm hoping that these open playbooks that aren't so simple, these more complex and tricky plays, if you run them right, we can be fine all week. We can be fine all season. And I'm not trying to put pressure on a young fucking 18-year-old, but it's just like, if you can win this game, kid, like, You gonna be a legend over here at Michigan really quick, really quick. Oklahoma right now 5.5 favorite. I mean, give me Michigan. Just give me Michigan by like 3. I think it's a close game. I think it's a real close game. It's gonna be one of those fourth quarter defensive battles, or it's gonna be a shootout. I don't see a blowout either way. I think both teams are too evenly matched. Michigan needs this a little more than Oklahoma, in my opinion, just because Michigan, 2 years ago, national championship, last year beating the national champions. I feel like you got to get back into that like playoff area for sure, especially the Big Ten championship. You need to get into that era, and this is the way to do it. Beat a top 20 team, and then carry that momentum all the way to Nebraska, carry that momentum all the way up to, Michigan State, USC, Washington. If you can run this gauntlet, like we can be real scary. I don't think we go undefeated, but I mean, if we win this game, I think we go with 1 or 2 losses on our record going into the playoffs. I don't think that's too controversial to say. I mean, we have a pretty favorable season this year. Fuck it. Let's go blue. Let's run it. I'm really excited for this. Let's see what happens. So yeah, apologies for it to be a little bit of a shorter one today. I know we're not even 20 minutes in, but again, scheduling kind of didn't work out for us. So now we just got to kind of work with what we have. But we appreciate everyone so much for watching. Check us out next Friday. Every Friday, check us out next Friday for the newest episode of Me and Mitch. I've been Eric out of Leaky Lounge of Sports, and this is a deuces.